And Sarkozy and Merkel, the big new agreement, how's it gone down in the French newspapers?
Well, did Sarkozy back down? That's the big debate that they all can't quite agree on this morning. La Tribune, the business paper, has gone for quite a punchy front page on this one. Angela Merkel wins by a knockout. They reckon that Sarkozy backed down on pretty much everything. The issue of Eurobonds, the issue of the European Court of Justice pulling badly behaved states who don't fit their budget limits back into line. They say he just sees that there's no other alternative. This is a politically risky option because it's so unpopular in France, but he sees that France's economic fundamentals are so weak, there's just nothing else they can do except go along with the German line. Some of the other papers are a little bit more conciliatory, a bit more positive towards him. Over at Libération, they're leading with Euro crisis, a marriage of reason. They reckon both sides have had to back down a bit. Merkel also made some concessions. Notably, she agreed that the banks, which the Eurozone's poorest states owe money to, wouldn't have to take write-downs on that debt. And inside Libération points out there are still quite a lot of differences between the two, and they reckon that might be up to the different political cultures in which they live. Sarkozy, as president, has a lot of power in his own hands and can really ride over Parliament on these kind of budgetary questions if he wants to. Merkel absolutely cannot. She needs to submit every possible measure to the Bundestag and then to Germany's constitutional court. So Libération points out that it's not really right to portray her as dictating to everyone else. She's not even in charge back at home in Berlin.
We like that picture on the front of Libération, a cosy Merkozy, we've dubbed it here.
They did it very cuddly, don't they?
It does, yeah, very, very nice. It's going to be a tough sell, though, isn't it, for the German public, this?
Well, that's what Le Figaro is focusing on. They've got a pretty positive front page here, the Sarkozy-Merkel agreement to refound Europe. But on the inside, they're focusing on how difficult it's going to be for her to convince her own coalition partners back in Germany to go for it. She's got opposition on the left who are very against the fact that banks will have been let off taking write-downs on that debt. They say that's sanctioning speculation. And also on the right from MPs within her own party who are worried that Germany is going to have to spend more of its money to bail out impecunious states. Le Figaro reckons that it's tough in both Germany and France to try and sell this to the electorate. The business paper Les Echos isn't very positive about this either. They've gone for the rather more negative headline, the AAA rating of all the Eurozone countries who have it under scrutiny again. And they've also got a story about inequality on their front page. Apparently that's growing and growing all across Europe in the crisis.
Please tell me there are some other stories around as well.
There are. Well, La Croix is leading with a new offensive against prostitution. This is a vote that's happening in France's Assemblée Nationale today. It's actually fairly symbolic. It won't actually change anything, but it could lead towards making paying a prostitute a criminal offence, and so the men who do so would be fined. And La Croix is very happy with this initiative. They say a similar law passed in Sweden in the late 90s has been very effective, and that the vast majority of prostitutes in France are trafficked from abroad, so they're victims that the law should be protecting.
Now, finally, the state-run firm, when I go home, I'll be using the metro, and the state-run firm that runs the metro, they're in a bit of trouble.
Yes, the metro in Paris is run by the RATP, which have made a scandal on the front page here of Le Parisien. Now, the scandal is that they've spent €500,000 on a garden party for their employees, which won't go down terribly well with fare payers, the paper points out. But also here on the same front page, we've got the most dangerous virus in the world. According to Le Parisien, that's been created by Dutch researchers. What they've done is merge the bird flu virus, remember the one that was so lethal it killed nearly half of the people who got it a few years ago in Southeast Asia. They've merged that with the common flu, seasonal flu, which of course is incredibly contagious, to create the nightmare that happens in the film Contagion, a disease that's as contagious as ordinary flu and as lethal as bird flu. But they say don't worry, in Le Parisien it's under lock and key quite safely in a lab in Rotterdam.
I do hope so. You kind of think why is the answer, but I'm sure there are very good scientific reasons. All right, Elena, thank you very much. Elena with the French paper review here on France 24. Should be out with the international one a little bit later on. Now, coming up...